The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show. It's brought to you along with Levi Solicitors, who are offering a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball and 15% on wills, probate and conveyancing. Thank you, Michael. That offer is in place until the end of January 2023. Full details on the website, levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Dan, Michael and Rob here then, as we preview West Ham. There's going to be no weekly show this week just because the daft midweek fixtures are, they're basically making us work shy.
And there's a bank holiday.
Yeah.
There's a game. There's a Cardiff game. That's unnecessary. Give us the weekend off.
It's always unnecessary playing Cardiff.
So we are here to preview West Ham. However, we will quickly give mention to Maximilian Verber, who has put pen to paper at Elland Road. As soon as the window's opened, acting decisively and quickly to sign a left back, centre back, not quite sure back.
A defender, though. A left-sided one.
A warm body, if you like.
Warm body. That's what we need.
Yes.
If only we'd known in summer we needed a left back, eh? We could have got this done sooner. But yeah, we're doing it as quickly as we can in January is good.
Yes.
I'm very pleased with that because I really hate it when we just wait till the end of a window and feel like we're scrambling about trying to get something done. Stand for Dieng, etc.
Still time, don't worry. Still a striker to get.
The nice thing is, because we've moved early, within about another week, people will start getting dead antsy about the fact we've done nothing else to build on it. Why have they not signed a forward yet?
We'll sign a striker straight away and then we can all pipe down.
And a midfielder? Because what happens if Mateusz Klich leaves?
Yeah, that is true.
Talked about this with Phil Hay on
Don't let him leave.
on Monday's show, but Phil is too professional to say what needs to be said.
Which is
Really?
what?
But I'll let you say it, and Rob.
I don't know.
I don't know what you're trying to get us
what
to
you
Saying
mean.
as if Klich leaves, we must sign someone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sign another player.
Yeah. Is he going to leave? He sounds like he probably is.
What sort of forward do you want?
A big one.
The proper one. I don't really get that we keep getting linked to like players who are wingers or number 10s. So it's sort of this kind of hybrid thing, especially when Jesse, whenever he talks about Bamford and his strengths and what he brings to the team and what we've seen in bursts, like against Arsenal, having that sort of direct number 9 seems to help this team. So don't go out and buy.
Do you want Gyökeres
Dan
from Coventry?
Yes. Have I seen him play? No.
Have you even done his YouTube yet?
I've now seen some clips of him on YouTube.
On YouTube, he looks all right, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I mean...
Because there's the argument about signing the best of the Championship, which we've never really done since we've come up. Would you advocate that approach? Or do you want us to go by someone, one of these unicorns that keep getting linked with us?
The unicorns have not been strikers, though, have they?
No.
Not out and out, anyway. Just go and buy a striker, a good one. It's Victor Orta's job. He should know someone. It's literally all he's meant to do is find signings, isn't it? It's certainly a big part of his job. So,
what do you want us to do, Rob, up front?
A proper number 9. I couldn't tell you anything about the guy at Coventry, and just get one who is good and who works. But like we try to work out with Verber, you don't really know what works until you see it. So, I don't know. Yeah, ask Victor. But don't ask me. Christ.
I mean, it is always a bit suck it and see with the signings, isn't it? Because on paper you looked at like Christensen over summer and you went, perfect, he'll slot straight in.
We thought he'd be solid, didn't
Looks
we?
physically capable, he'll have no problem. And then, a few weeks before signing Willie Gnonto, you've got the manager saying, he's not ready for the Premier League. He's come in and our best player.
Yeah.
Cost £3.5 million or whatever it was. Like, there's not, you don't always know, do you?
And it's like the argument for signing an actual left back rather than a centre back who can play left back. It's like, well, Junior Firpo is a left back, but it doesn't really work like that. And in fact, I think I actually welcome Verber not necessarily being a natural left back, because all the good left backs that I've seen at Leeds have not really been left backs. It's been like Andy Hughes, Stuart Dallas, Gianni Alioski.
It's funny, isn't it?
Pascal Strel.
Given Orta's penchant for left-footed players, that we've still not managed to turn up a left back yet.
We've got 2 now. How many more do you need?
What happens to Junior Firpo from here? Send him to live on the farm?
He's on quite a decent contract, isn't he? So I suspect we'll end up loaning him back to Spain at some point.
Yeah, it's
Probably in the summer.
Probably in the summer.
It's got summer loan with view to be permanent, which never actually gets activated. Sort of vibe all over it.
When you look at him at Christmas and he's come off the bench 6 times played a total of 42 minutes, and you're like, yeah, they're not signing him. Same again.
Just forget about him.
Rinse and repeat next the season after.
Just slightly lower profile clubs each time.
Yeah, where he's like playing a dozen games for Elche or something next season, and you're like,
he seems like a really nice bloke, from what you see of him. But we're not here in the business of being nice, are we?
No, bastards. They need to be bastards.
They're in the business of winning football matches. But I presume we won't see Verber against West Ham. It's going to be a bit too soon for that, isn't it? But maybe Cardiff at the weekend, which we'll chat about, I suppose, towards the back end of the week. Or should we chat about it now?
Let's wait for West Ham to be over with.
Okay.
We can reassess then. I feel like we don't quite know what we're facing until after that game.
We were saying about West Ham on the Phil Hayes show that they're weird this season. What's happened to them? And you was taking it as kind of an example of how unforgiving the Premier League can be if you just hit a rocky patch, Michael, because they're 17th at the minute, only 14 points, which is less than us.
Well, all the things we're talking about doing and wanting Leeds to do, you need to get a bigger stadium to up your revenue. Done that. To let you sign more players. They've done that.
They've signed, as I was saying on the Phil Hayes show, they've signed the likes of Ben Rama, other players in that bracket, Bowen, for example, good Championship players who've, Bowen's been capped for England.
And over this summer, they've spent big. They got Paqueta and Scamacca. They're paying like 30 odd million quid for them.
I was looking down this list of signings, and some of them have like completely passed me by. Like they spent 30 million quid on Naef Aguerd. Is that how you say it? He's a centre half.
Where's he from?
Rouen.
Rene.
But yeah, I'd never heard of him. He was playing for Morocco in the World Cup. And then like Paqueta, like he scored that great goal at the World Cup, and it never once crossed my mind that he plays for West Ham.
Mm.
Oh, they've done over 100 million, haven't they? Without me even realising it. Even like Maxwell Cornet, I quite fancied us to get him, as it happened when when Burnley went down, and he was angling for a move because he was linked to us sometime in the past, wasn't he? And he looked handy for Burnley. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded some of the signings they've brought in. But even then, there's like Emerson Palmieri as well. There's another 14 million from Chelsea. What have they spent there in total? That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely tons.
163.8 million, says this calculation.
Yeah, I mean, the transfer fees vary depending on which website you look at.
Well, let's call it 150 million.
It's a lot of money,
and they've spent 150 million to go backwards. Conclusion: don't spend any money.
just buy Salzburg players.
And where's their pathway? Well,
their pathway, you can see they're in the players out. Sonny Perkins free, Leeds United.
Yeah,
although he wasn't quite free, was he? Because I think we're going to have to pay something for him.
They're still arguing over that, aren't they?
Yeah.
But so what do you see when you look at this game? Is it must win? I put this to Phil on the Phil Hayes show, and he didn't say it was a must win. I think it's more of a must not lose. But even still, we need wins, don't we now?
I feel like for Jesse, it's probably must win.
I think just a good performance as well. Like I say, across the next 4 league games, who have we got? West Ham, got Cardiff in the Cup, then we've got Villa, Brentford, Nottingham Forest. I think out of that, we need at least 2 wins, you'd hope.
Yeah, I think so.
So it doesn't necessarily make West Ham a must-win, but yeah, you just want to see him play well, don't you? And a bit of excitement.
A
sign of progress.
The problem with not winning against West Ham, though, then kicks the can further down the road, and you're then running out of games in this stretch where you say, well, we could do with a couple of wins out of this stretch of 4 or 5, doesn't it? Because you identify Forest as a game where you'd want us to get points out of that one. But if we get round to that game and we've not had any wins in this stretch, then suddenly that pressure is getting cranked up again. Just win some games, dickheads.
Yeah. Jesse likes talking about pressure as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As much as he's trying to relieve it, he's just always talking about it.
Living in the moment.
It was nice when Jesse in his pre-Newcastle press conference brought up having to make the players less stressed, like he always says, and Adam Pope asking him, will you stress, Jesse? He went, yes, I am.
To fuck.
I'm a great big stress sponge. That's what I am.
Oh, great.
I'm carrying the stress of 25 men.
Goes into his office in Wales.
Oh, dear me. They've lost 5 in a row of West Ham. Last time they won was against Bournemouth, those chumps at the end of October.
We need Bournemouth to keep being rubbish, don't we, on a separate issue, because I kind of had them penciled in as one of the teams that would definitely be below us.
That is the pattern that this season seems to be taking. We just need people to outshit us, don't we? I mean, I forget we're 14th, and if you were offered a 14th placed finish at the end of this season, you'd accept it now and shut the season down, wouldn't you? Welcome to the Premier League, everyone.
The thing is, the 14th place at the moment, there's no comfort zone there whatsoever. Is what are we, 2 points above the relegation zone?
Yeah, and that comfort in 14th only comes when you get round to about April.
Yeah, when there's only 5 games left and you've got 5-point gap there, and there are 4 teams in between that are likely to be going down at that point. It's generally split off, hasn't it, at that stage where there's a bottom 4 or 5 maybe who are in the proper battle, and you've got to get a draw every couple of weeks to just keep out of it.
There is a little gap sort of opening up. This is a real chance for us to close that gap, because if we beat West Ham, we have 19 points, which keeps us in touch with Villa, Palace, Brighton above. But there is a little gap just starting to open up between Villa and Leicester in 12th and 13th now. 4 points there. I'd quite like us to not get cut adrift in this bottom third. It needs to stay fluid for a bit longer, I think. And it likely will close back up again, because it is pretty tight down there, isn't it?
Moving 5 points above West Ham would be very nice as well, with a game in hand.
Yeah, and you look at the example of Southampton, who are currently bottom. You've got to get away from these teams one at a time, haven't you, I guess? So if we move on to 19, we're then 7 clear of Southampton, which is effectively 3 wins. So they've only won 3 all season. You start to then think, well, they're not going to catch us, hopefully.
We did this last year with Burnley, and then they won I'm sure they won about 12 games in a week.
But do you look at Southampton under Nathan Jones and think that's a side that's got the resilience to dig it out?
Probably not.
No.
Hope not.
They'll be under a different manager by the end of the season anyway, probably.
I mean, and there's the chaos at Forest, and it's hard to know what's going to happen at Wolves. You'd expect Wolves to pick up a bit of momentum, but if they
Wolves have got a good manager now.
Yeah, but
I kind of suspect they'll be all right.
Maybe so. To West Ham then, and this from Who Scored. We got the strengths and weaknesses. What can we look forward to?
Aerial duels, they're good at, apparently.
Very strong. That's their only very strong strength.
I mean, in their style, it says they're non-aggressive, and in Leeds' style, it says we're aggressive. So we might have a similar propaganda to that crying Newcastle fans saying we're awful.
It seems weird to have a Moyes side being non-aggressive, doesn't it? I always think of his teams as being quite traditional.
Yeah, and I sort of mentally associate West Ham with being quite big as well, and big and meaty.
Big meaty men.
Yeah.
The set piece thing. I've just seen the word set pieces. Somehow, we're only weak and not very weak at defending set pieces. I think had Newcastle scored one of their multiple chances from them, that may have pushed us into the very weak set pieces category.
Do you ever sit there and kind of do your own head in thinking, I wish I understood what it is that we need to do in order to solve our defending at set pieces?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
You sit there and think, I wish I had the knowledge and the know-how of a football expert rather than a dickhead with a podcast.
Who was our set piece coach?
It was Jackson, wasn't it?
No, at the beforehand.
Gianni Vio?
Yeah. What's he thinking? We need to get back in him.
He's thinking, I'm glad I'm at Spurs and not Leeds. I don't know.
It's going well there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I wish I had the knowledge to unpick it and say, this is what we need to do to stop it. Maybe it's just a case of picking up people who are around you. Is it that simple?
It can't be that easy, can it?
I don't know. We've switched to zonal marking. So is it that we're marking the wrong zone?
Well, I did notice that the zone that we seem to be leaving was the zone at the back post over and over again.
Spread out the zone a bit.
We need to make that a zone. I think
you are an expert coach, Michael.
I think we're not classing that as a zone at the moment.
Make the zone bigger.
The zone, we only have the zone as in front of the goal.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you need to go a bit to the side of the goal too.
Right. Rob?
Yeah, I agree with Michael's scientific analysis there, that if there's a player stood in a zone, make sure we've got a player stood in the zone, perhaps.
So what can we do to hurt West Ham? I don't know what to expect from West Ham, because they've been quite strong in the couple of occasions they've arrived at Elland Road in the last couple of years. Are they just on a bad run of form, or are they genuinely a bad side? It's weird, isn't it?
I don't think they're that bad.
You said that with a note of terror in your voice.
Yeah, I feel like they'll... Well, you went into the Newcastle game, as it turns out rightly, saying they won't beat us because they've won 6 in a row and they're not going to win 7 in a row.
Are you thinking the opposite?
I'm thinking, well, they're not. West Ham aren't a terrible side. They're not a losing 5 in a row type of side. I don't think.
Although they must be, because that's exactly what they've done.
That is true.
It is, yeah, those stats, whenever you hear them, I'm like, I just don't want to know them. Because it immediately makes me think, fuck, they're going to get something here, aren't they?
I mean, they were 4th last season at this stage. They can't be a bad side.
Maybe they are, though. Maybe the money that they've spent, though, they've not spent wisely. And this is not, by the way, justification for not spending money, as I joked about earlier. But sometimes they've added what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players there. All of them £8 million and above, which is not insignificant.
I mean, the Laurent player, in fairness, he's been injured all season, so there's not much value out of him.
But even still, adding that many players into your squad, that's basically a third of your squad because you're allowed a 25-man squad. And they've shifted a lot of players out, haven't they?
Still reeling from the loss of Sonny Perkins.
Yeah, but it's just maybe that the amount of churn that they've put in place in the summer has been too much, and it's just for whatever reason not worked. They're not gelled yet, or
Yeah, I guess that's reflected in how they've struggled to score goals. Like Ben Ram is their top scorer. He's got 3 goals, and it's like Bowen, who played for England, is now sort of gone off the boil a little bit.
There's your 2 scorers for tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't want to say these things because
you're
you're
not jinxing it, Rob. It has no influence.
It's true. Yeah, and like Antonio as well. I always just fear him, even though he's not scoring any goals this season. I think last year it was him again. Charlie Cresswell played in this game, didn't he? Last season at Elland Road.
It was it Jamie Shackleton trying to stop him right at the end? He was literally like half the size of him. It was a really sad sight.
Although in a way, kind of the big meaty striker poses, in theory, less of a threat.
He's quick as well.
Oh,
sorry to tell you, but he's quick as well.
Right. No, because I was just looking at like when Newcastle lined up against us, and I thought one of our best hopes there is the fact that Isak is out, Callum Wilson is made of wafers, and then they had Chris Wood up front, and I thought that gave us a half decent chance of maybe shutting them out, or the best opportunity of shutting them out versus the 3 options they had up front there. And I wonder if can we, and I'm saying this again, jinxing it against Antonio scoring, definitely scoring tomorrow now. But does it help to a certain extent that their front man is big rather than skillful?
I'm going to say yes because I'm being positive.
Do you want me to say no because I'm being? Has someone got to be negative here? I'll say, oh no.
I'm trying to find something where we can go. We don't. All games in the Premier League are difficult. That needs to be said. West Ham are not a bad side. The table is lying, but we're not as bad either as I think we fear, which is what I always say.
I mean, Who Scored's match forecast says West Ham will create many scoring chances, which I think is based on their strength being creating scoring chances.
That is a very, very clever deduction on their part.
And we are apparently very weak against defending against skillful players. But yeah, so get the big lump up front and we might be all right, I guess.
Do we play 4-2-3-1? Do we play 4-3-3? Who knows?
Guess you'll draw it. Flip a coin on the day and see what happens.
What do you hope will happen? Leeds United win?
Correct, yeah.
What do you think will happen?
God, I don't know. It'd be stress. I think I've got concerns about the atmosphere in this as well. I feel like it's got a potential to be very tense. Because I think Man City was a bit of I don't like using the phrase really, but a bit of a free hit. People
there's no expectation.
People were sort of all right with losing. It felt like this has got potential for people to get quite cross. Because of the
league table?
Yeah.
I'm getting weird flashbacks to the Villa home game last season where once we go goal down, it can be quite poisonous. But that might not happen.
The flip side of it is it might be a lovely evening.
Might get to say a happy goodbye to Mateusz Klich.
Well, I mean, look, there's no reason. Well, there are reasons why we might not go ahead early doors, but you can look at a scenario where we score early.
Like against Bournemouth, then it's plain sailing.
And it's plain sailing all the way, yeah. I think that this is perhaps, it goes back to all the stuff we were talking about in propaganda and not knowing whether to be too positive, too negative. And looking at any of these games, you just genuinely do not know what you're going to get. I think that's been the hardest thing in the post-Bielsa era and the near year now that Jesse has had. We still don't quite know where this is heading, do we?
No, I have absolutely no idea.
On a week-to-week basis, I mean.
No. I go into games with no expectations, really. And that's why I just want to see like some good, fun football. Just enjoy watching them. Like I don't have any expectations about the result or the league table or whatever. But you just want to see progress. Jesse keeps talking about clarity. I want to see clarity. I want to see them look less stressed. Like all these things that he keeps saying, I want to see evidence of. And I don't think that's been a unfair supporter. I think that's sort of fair enough after almost a year.
Predictions for this one then, Michael? Leeds home defeat.
No, we're going to win.
Rob?
Yeah, a really tense 1-0 or 2-1.
Joffrey's going to get his 5 minutes at 1-1 and score.
Turn the game. So we've got 3 home wins. Look at that.
We know what's happening now, don't we?
Well, let's see. We'll be back on the match ball, won't we, for the reaction to this one after the game on Wednesday night. How do you think that's going to be? Will we have egg all over our faces?
No, we'll be celebrating a great win.
And so we were right.
Yep.
So people ask for more optimism from you two anyway. Obviously, I'm wildly optimistic these days. And you've got it. So there you go.
We can win.
Happy New Year.
We can win this game.
We should, shouldn't we?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. We'll speak to you in a bit.